And we're live. So this is conversation number 7 of our 19 conversations that we started to give ourselves something to do, and anybody that wants to join in. Right. To give ourselves something. All right. So that happens every time. I always have YouTube up to see what's happening then.
Yeah, we're totally, out of our rhythm as everyone else. But, usually probably this time I'd be waking up from a nice little Sunday nap after having played together on a Sunday morning, and nope.
Yeah, and boy, that was tough this morning to get up on a Sunday, and because I wake up every day at like 6:30, 6:45, no matter what now, and because typically during the week I'd get up even earlier, but. So get up at 6:30 on a Sunday. It's like, well, grab my cup of coffee, do a couple things before I leave, pack up.
Right. Pick up.
Little I do.
Pick which 2 guitars you're going to throw in a gig bag. Of course, the PRS and whatever else it gets paired with.
Right. Brian Landry said, "What's up?" He's driving today, so you drive carefully, man. Keep your eyes on the road.
Because you've seen us before. There ain't nothing worth looking at. It's barely worth listening to, let alone looking at.
So, anyway.
So this has been an interesting week, right? We decided to do this, and I think it's been great. And I think kind of the thing I liked the best about this week was I got a chance to, I've met Ray Santana, right? So I've met a friend of yours, a very long-term friend of yours in person, and we did some episodes about Ray Santana. But then on, my side, if you will, there was 2 or 3 people that we've interviewed that I had long-lasting relationships with. And, I felt bad as Jason not having a connection to the people, kind of sitting through, just listening, getting to know them. So I had the pleasure of doing that yesterday with Jason and his friend Eric. It was really cool to hear him and hear him talk about music, and kind of could see the relationship you guys had. And it was kind of cool that he's, gives you credit for the first taking him out to like a live blues band jam. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool. It's funny because you don't think about that stuff, right? Like I when I think about Eric, I think about the guy that traded me my first electric guitar.
Right.
When I think about him, I think, the guy that introduced me to Albert Collins and all the other incredible blues artists, him doing that radio show, we would just sit in the radio station over at the school and dig through stuff, and it was really cool. So lots of influence on me, but you don't think about like how other people, I guess, remember you or think about you, or what influence maybe that you had.
Right.
Randy Davis is in the house. He says, "Nice shirt, Patrick."
Yeah, that's right. Representing the drummers today. Somehow, as a guitarist, I always got paired up with the drummers. First started with my friend Robert. I played guitar. He played drums. We're always dragging drums around. Then I went to college, and it was my friend Blaine in a band. I'm always dragging Blaine's drums around. And then with Randy, I wasn't necessarily dragging Randy's drums around, but I became friends with the drummer, which means I hung out with him, which means we drug the whole sound system around. So always it's usually the bass player. Isn't the bass player supposed to be the one pairing up with the drummers?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it's supposed to work? But I was thinking about, go ahead.
I was to say, Brian in the chat said that Eric's a very interesting guy. He could talk to him for hours. Yeah, I feel like we talked to him for an hour and didn't really kind of get deeply into anything. So
I was thinking about, go ahead.
Okay. We keep cutting each other off. Maybe you're going to say this, but speaking of that, Brian Landreth was another guy on the show this week. And so this was a guy that was new to both of us.
Right.
That face-to-face meeting, I guess, if you call it a face-to-face meeting.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was great. Brian was fun. It always been a great friend of the show, and became like a friend virtually through conversations on Messenger and that kind of thing. But just real fun to hang out with, and we can't wait to get more of his Southern wit and wisdom from Uncle Bry.
Right.
But yeah, I could see where he would like Eric, because Eric was talking about kind of, build a guitar that you like, build a guitar that has what you want on it. And so that seems to be, Brian enjoys parts casters and Frankenstein guitars. And so
Brian asked if that's the Randy that owes you money.
I don't think so.
You're supposed to say, "Oh yeah."
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
He's stronger than me. While we're still on Eric, loosely affiliating topics here over your shoulder, which I don't know left or right. It was interesting in the interview with Eric. As soon as we got on, I'm looking at the stuff in the background. I'm like, I think that's a Leslie. So
yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Eric had a Leslie cabinet, and then Jason's got one over his shoulder. And Jason actually took the time to mic it up, and pretty wild. So only the second time I heard it. And this time it was mic'd in stereo, and more to come on that, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so finishing the Leslie comparison video. So we have all these Leslie pedals we've done, and we've done the same riff, same guitar, same amp on all of them.
If you don't believe us, ask Jason's wife.
Yeah. So take all of those and put them together in one video that you can kind of jump around with the timestamps. And I thought, well, you can't put that out without recording the Leslie 16. So did that today, and that was something I could do with Pat not here. We have to do a video on that yet, but at least could get that sound sample from it. Broke the law, went out yesterday during the stay-at-home ban because I needed microphones to teach my class.
Well, your class on Leslieology.
Right. And grabbed some microphones and some stands, and yeah, man, it sounds really good. It does. Brian said thanks for having him, that he really enjoyed it. And like we said, Brian, we're looking forward to getting that Southern Charm. We're fixing to have that Southern Charm join us again.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, I really, that was kind of a fun little project today to pass some time to plug that in. And I still can't get over how that thing hooks up and how it works, but that's a whole episode that would be coming sooner or later.
Right.
If we ever get back to recording episodes. My gosh.
So we had 3 guests this past week, right? So we had Brody and Brian and Eric.
Yeah, the only one we didn't talk about right now was Brody, and that was Brody has those guitars that that are easy to love.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I said before, having known Brody for a long time, I think it's actually kind of funny that he was chasing a certain Clapton Strat, and he found it for the price, the year, the color, everything he wanted. And then, oh, by the way, after it was already in the mail, I put a letter in there saying that it was probably owned by Joe Bonamassa. It's just only Brody, a guy that doesn't care, probably doesn't care more than he cares. Has a guitar that was. He
wouldn't have spent more for it. I think just in a little bit I've known him, he would not have spent more to get a guitar owned by Bonamassa.
Nope.
But I'm sure he's not upset to have one.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, he showed us 2 unique guitars. That one unique in the sense that the little backstory, and the other one was a 335 that was sort of a connection with Gordon Kennedy. They did the Pretty Woman guitar to honor Gordon's dad, Jerry, who played guitar and produced and did stuff with Roy Orbison, the Pretty Woman. And so through that relationship, there was like a early prototype of a 335 just for the neck shape that Gordon had, that he toured with Garth Brooks. And he got to the point where he's like, I don't think I want this anymore, and kind of gave Brody the first crack at it. And he got an unbelievable price on a 335 that has a story as well, right?
Yeah, less than you would pay for a 335, let alone one that has a pedigree like that. Is Brody's band, did they have stuff out, like recordings out or anything?
Yeah, Next to Nothing. Next and a Letter to Nothing website, and they've got 3 projects, 3.
And that's is that like contemporary Christian rock?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I played on one of them. Yeah, we should do a better job of featuring that when we talk to him.
Right.
I mean, they're staying together, which is interesting because he's in Nashville. The rest of the band is in Pennsylvania, but they've managed to stay together. They don't have a project right now. They had doing some preliminary discussions with our friend Sal, who featured on the show, but they've done a few live dates. But I think they're just trying to figure out how to put that all together with everyone's schedules and geography. But yeah, we have to point towards that at some point.
Yeah, but Next to Nothing band. Well, let me see if I can find them.
There's 2 of them, so be careful. I'm not supposed to be careful. There's nothing wrong with the other band other than it's not his band, and it's probably a heavier genre.
Next to nothing.com, you think?
Probs. If it has the letter 2, I think that's how they did it.
That's certainly. I see a guy that looks like Eric Clapton on the.
Yeah, that's probably it.
It's
funny because that we're talking about this because I had a bunch of Facebook memories pop up from like 7-8 years ago today that we were in Nashville recording, and we went to Barbara's home cooking, and Sheryl Crow rolled in, and so I've got a very TMZ-esque picture of Sheryl Crow sitting at an outside table across from us.
All right. Well, I posted that link to the chat. I guess that went both to Facebook and YouTube. Anybody that's watching that wants to see, check out Facebook.
Yeah.
So the other thing we've been doing on these conversations is kind of a pedal of the day. Before we start them, Pat and I sit here and think through the episodes and the pedals that we've done, and some of them we've done episodes on. Some of the DM2 yesterday is just showing up on various things. But this one, if we think, I think Pat,
good.
I was saying, I think we both feel this way. If we think back to all the videos we shot, probably the funniest video to us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the one that we laughed probably the most.
I've watched that video several times, and we mute the vocal mics when you're playing. So many times Jason's playing it, and this was me. That's what you see in the background. You can't hear anything I'm saying. I'm just laughing. So in honor of Sunday Fun Day, we thought, well, why not pull out the funnest pedal?
Right. And so we actually bought this pedal. I don't know that we've really plugged it in since we bought it, but it was such a fun pedal to record that it was like it has to stay around. One of these days I'm going to put it on my pedal board when he's not looking and just drop it somewhere in the middle of a set.
I feel like we made Esty play it. But,
yeah, we had it plugged in for him, but so that is the MXR Blue Box. And if you need a pedal to just make some.
Well, I think it's the knob. What are the two knobs? What are the two controls?
The output and the blend.
I feel like it was the blend that, like, all the way to one side was almost Hendrix-esque, like with the octave up, and then all the way to the other right was like a Mario Kart soundtrack. Like it was just like
it's like an octave down, if I remember.
Okay, yeah.
It's real, but then it does like weird.
It's glitchy.
It goes up, it goes down. Whatever.
That was a fun one.
Landry says he's going to corrupt y'all. I quote, "I'm going to corrupt y'all's grammar."
I ain't gonna let you.
So, what are we coming up this week? Definitely would like to do some more interviews, like have people join the conversation, some more of that. And we have heard, and we're still waiting to hear on a day, so it's still kind of up in the air. But Dave Sestito from DLS Effects said that he wants to do it, so he's going to join us. Either I'm thinking he's going to be Wednesday or Thursday, and then either very early in the week or very late in the week if all goes well. David Barber from Barber Electronics is going to join us, and we've been trying to get Chris from Woodshed to come in, but he's been kind of, it's weird, I think busy in that he's working as much as he can.
Right.
Well, now he doesn't, the downside, the up of this is, his store isn't open for regular business like it should be. So it'd be interesting to find out how he's doing with that, but I know he's like doing as much work, so he's probably focusing on like fret jobs and stuff like that right now. So I don't know if he'll have the ability or not, but if he does, we'll be happy to have him.
And exactly what you're talking about is why we wanted to talk to him, right? Well, first, he's a friend of ours. And secondly, it's like, you're a good friend of ours, a business guy. Like, how are you dealing with this? Like, what are you doing? Which is kind of the reason we kind of wanted to circle back, with David Barber and Dave Sestino as well. Like, some of those guys have operations. They're set up maybe working from their house or whatever. Maybe they're okay. But, yeah, that's part of the reason we want to talk to Chris and others. Like, what's going on? What's happening? How is this impacting you?
And I'd love to reach out, and I haven't done it yet, to Drew Swindler, because we're big fans of his and what he does too. So there's not a the goal of this really is throughout the week to try and talk to some people,
right?
Not necessarily people that are major pedal manufacturers, or like it doesn't really matter what walk of life or where they're at with this stuff. Brian says he has some very geeky questions for the pedal builders. Good, because
All
they'll enjoy that. And it'll help pass the time.
right.
So with that, well, we mentioned David Barber. So the other thing, recent video. Brian, I know you've seen that and like that pedal. So the Game Changer, that would be one reason we're trying to get David Barber over here. He built that, and then also he built the tone press that we have here that we have not done a video on yet. And I don't even know if it's worth. Like, it's all wrapped up and nice, and we'll just keep that secret for now because that's not ours.
Well, it's funny because every time you say Game Changer, it's hard not to say Game Changer. Matter of fact, at first I thought that's what it was, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
He could have named it either, but it's interesting. It's a play on words, right? Because there's 3 or 4 of his own pedals represented in that box and enclosure that have high output, low output, and then there's 3 different EQ settings and this mini toggle. So yeah, I mean, it's the Game Changer. That's a game changer.
And the question on my mind for David Barber is, where are the new direct drives at?
Right. Yeah. Is this a time where he's getting caught up, or who knows?
Or is his supply chain messed up because of it?
Right. And he already kind of talked, and I don't remember what was on camera, off camera, so I'm not going to say much. But there was already kind of a supply chain situation going on, anyway. Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, right. It was like a globally pedal manufacturer thing going on.
Which is kind of funny because the guy that Josh Scott just had on, and I totally forget his name, which is terrible. They talked about that pedal that was kind of posthumously a signature series for a guitarist, right? And some of the proceeds, what would have gone to the artist for a signature series is going to go to the family, right? Because the guy passed away. Very long way to me to say there were 2 colors of the pedal, and the reason there was one of the colors is because he had those enclosures sitting around. So I think these pedal guys, we've kind of learned, they get stuff, they put it over here, they do this, they're working on that, and every once in a while they're like, oh, I've got 12 light gray powder coated enclosures on the shelf over there.
Yeah, and that was interesting. Well, and when he was talking about the original pedal, there was a bunch of different colors because they would just order a different color, or they got different colors every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out and looked at those pedals, the ones that where the proceeds are going to the family, and they weren't really that expensive. I mean, not what I was expecting to be. And then, but I think the black and the white had a different chip, and I don't think that they really talked about how that would change the sound of it at all. So I wasn't sure about that.
They already sold out of one of the colors. I saw that on Instagram the next day.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
I mean, I only 100 and some people had watched it when I finished watching it, and so I must have been on it the minute it came out because that's not how his videos go.
And had we spent all of our allowance on Leslie pedals and tremolo pedals, we might have been able to help save the world. This self-funded show.
Yeah.
Which we're speaking of the show, I'm going to put it this way. Although we're flirting with $9.90 now. We're flirting. Or $8.90. I'm so sorry. We're on the cusp of 900. I say cusp. I'm being generous. It's 20 away or something. But
no, it's 14 away.
Okay.
So we're 900, which means we're almost to 1,000 if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Which is never really. It's been about that to a sense of if you start to grow, you can do different things, right? Money aside, but just even some of the things we've done under 1,000 has been great. But we're just kind of we get to that 1,000 point, and that's a mile marker. It's something you want to achieve, and it's fun. It's interesting, right? Even just this week doing this, and we can go do some analytics and kind of figure out where some of the subscribers come from, but we really don't know. But it's just always interesting. You're sitting there on your phone, and all of a sudden, boop, new subscriber, and then you kind of go look, and you're like, wow. And then you kind of go, I wonder what they were listening to that they subscribed, because the analytics we can get into, 90% or a high percent of our views are from non-subscribers. Yeah. So anyway, we're getting into the weeds of YouTube analytics, but we're just happy that there's an engagement with people. Right.
It's interesting. So, one one of the other things that we've been kind of doing in these conversations is trying to throw out somebody that is either new to us or we think might be new to other people.
Right.
And yesterday was a very obscure, I guess we could count Don Judy, Eric himself, and Don Judy. They were more obscure. That Don Judy video, I should send you a link to that song and let you listen to the whole thing, because the writing in it's fantastic. I guess everybody has the chance of that was I always felt like that's a song that should have been recorded somewhere. Well, and unfortunately Don passed away. I was always say, like, we ought to send that over to your buddy that shops those things around, and then
right.
I guess Don's not around anymore, but
right.
if they did it in a tribute to him, that would be really cool. So you have this guy.
Yeah, I was exchanging messages back and forth with a guy I know in Philly, not even necessarily a player, but loves a music aficionado. And he's like, have you ever heard of Steve Kahn? And I'm like, I don't know. So I looked up Steve Kahn, and right there you can see the first thing I saw was a 335. I'm like, okay, I'm very interested. And then I clicked on a couple links and found a video. So I think we're going to watch, we've been trying to play like 30 seconds, and I don't think any of this stuff is copyright written, so we could just go. But Steve Kahn. So
is that gold? Is that a gold 335?
No, it's a sunburst that just I think the way that the light's hitting it there. I think it's like a cherry, not a tobacco like Larry Carlton's, but more of a cherry sunburst, I'm pretty sure.
In my deep dive into Josh Smith last night, he was playing what looked like a gold 335. I think it might have been a Collins. But yeah. Brian said he guessed he needs to get busy recruiting subscribers. Well, yeah, we're not going to stop you.
That's your mission if you choose to accept it.
All right.
So well, I said we can play, but you should check out his Wikipedia page. I mean, for a guy that I hadn't heard of, he's done a lot of sessions with a lot of people. I mean, and I found out he had played with Larry Carlton and he played with Steely Dan and some others. So just kind of like, to me, like an unsung hero or kind of a hidden gem, but maybe not to the rest of the world. But here he is.
You know what?
You got to check to make sure you did it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I know I went to the right spot, but there's like one little extra checkbox you need to hit. All right, here we go. It's funny because go ahead.
So it's like your Sunday jazz brunch.
Right. It's funny because I mean, jazz isn't like one of my favorite types of music to listen to. Like, sit down, like driving the car, listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
You watch a group of guys like that play it. Like, I can watch that all day.
Yeah, and you find sorry, cut off your thought, but you find a virtuoso-ish guy, right? Like a Steve Kahn or an Eric Johnson, and the people they bring around them are pretty amazing. So even just that upright player there and that drummer, it's really good stuff. Like, and there's all jazz videos, so be prepared for 7 to 9 to 11 minutes, to invest. But they really explore at the end of that video, but kind of just wanted to feature his guitar playing. But go check him out, Steve Kahn. It was a fun little rabbit trail yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I find that I can, if somebody's good and like really good or at their instrument, it doesn't matter what they're playing.
I agree.
I can watch that live for sure, whether it's not my real taste in music or not. So,
right.
Hey, Dan in New Jersey just popped in.
What's up?
So, how you doing?
should we call him Exit 80? Was that his when Brian said what? We'll just,
remember back in the beginning of the whole Leslie, wasn't that? I mean, this is how long we've been working on the series because we were doing some live streams back then. Wasn't Dan the one that was going to drive over and pick one of these Leslie 16s up?
Yeah, because there was the one in Jersey, like at the shore, kind of Jersey Shore-ish Philly area that kept popping up, and we're just like, hey.
And it's like, that's right near me. Yeah.
All right.
So that gives you a hint of how long we've been working on it.
All right. I don't know, Dan in New Jersey, if the world gets upright again, upright, the Philly Guitar Show is like July 17th, 18th, something like that. It's worth the drive. Wouldn't be super far from you, but
yeah. Oh my god.
Wondering.
It's so scary to think that you'd like to talk about July like we have nothing to worry about. And those things are going to happen.
Right.
Well, might not.
Yeah, because I was sending stuff to Jason last night. Like, I made little pick stitch things, and the first one I sent was NAMM 2020 earlier in June, mid July. I mean, and then the Philly Guitar Show like a week later. We're in a box together, kind of like, I don't know, in my world, like hashtag goals, like maybe. Then I created another one that showed that like the PRS experience was unfortunately canceled, and then What's that?
I missed that one.
Oh, I thought did I not send it? The second one was the PRS experience was canceled, and the second one was Sweetwater's Gear Fest. That's like a June date. So it was like May canceled, June not officially canceled, and then 2 dates in July of kind of big things in the guitar industry. So we'll see. That's what you do, during a quarantine. Go out into Pick Stitch and crop pictures and send them to your friends.
So the PRS experience is officially canceled already.
Yeah, because it was like a May date. So that would be really, and with all the planning that goes into that, I could see that decision needing to be made.
Gear Fest is on June 26th and June 27th.
Yeah.
It's scary because, even if we are at the point at the end of June, beginning of July, where you can like leave the house, because I don't know what's going on where everybody else is, but where I'm at right now, where Pat lives when he's home, we're on that, like, I won't call it house arrest, but you're not supposed to leave your home. Like, there's a list of reasons you can leave your home, and basically, if it's a life-sustaining activity, like getting groceries for yourself or an elderly person, or something like that, you're able to venture out. But my wife said she thought there was a $500 fine that they could impose if people were out for other reasons. And so, I guess where I was going is like, even when we get back to that point where, okay, they've lifted that, life is getting back to normal. Do you really want to travel to an area where people from all over the country are coming together?
Well, yeah, and many of those events international as well. Like, it's just, it's hard to say.
Well, Dan said he lives in New Jersey, no place to go. Well, no place to go anyway because it's in New Jersey, I guess. But the other thing is, I don't know where the people that are going out are going because nothing's open. Like,
they're just going grocery store to grocery store looking for toilet paper.
Right. Right. And what I love is every time they make one of these announcements, they're like, we're going to close everything. We're going to stay at home order starting at 8:00 tonight. So what just happened? Like, everybody and their brother jumped in their car and ran somewhere. Oh, we have to all go to Walmart at the same time.
Well, yeah, I had to buy a car. The reason I'm in Georgia, which we've talked about before, the reason I'm in Georgia right now is my wife is working here, and she's an essential employee because she works for a railroad. And we had a car down here, and it decided it wasn't going to be cooperative. So, like, the day before the governor, like, he announced it on Thursday that everything should be shutting down by midnight that night, and then start enforcing on Saturday. So I found a guy on Friday, that kind of grayish window, to do some title work, and I was able to get a car and get it registered and drive it down here to Atlanta. It's crazy.
Anthony's not a fan of martial law. You know what? I think everybody in the United States, because yesterday when I ran out, and I don't know if you were here when we talked about it, Dan, but I ran out to get the microphones to mic that Leslie speaker. I was a little like, am I supposed to be doing this? And that initial thought of, I can't get in my car and just drive where I want and get what I want and do what I want was a little startling. I mean, it was a little, but I'm also not a fan of like getting sick. I'm also not a fan of making somebody else sick and causing somebody else to die or dying myself. So, with that in mind.
Hey, but despite that Leslie cabinet sounds great.
Right, stay at home, die.
Right.
We're getting the weeds here, maybe away from, because we try to avoid conversations like that, even between ourselves sometimes. But I think Lori and I have been talking about there might be some really interesting things that come out of this. For one, we have now cooked at home and ate at home more than we ever have in our entire marriage. And it will be interesting to see if some of that lifestyle change carries over. There might be we walk through the neighborhood, there's more dads outside playing basketball and playing with their kids than I've ever seen before. Mm-hmm. The little kids,
Yeah, no, and even just, a lot of even restaurants that maybe didn't do delivery and other things. I think there are a lot of things that are going to change because of that. Kind of what you're saying too, like people are frustrated with their grocery stores, but think about what you just said, right? Maybe the average household cooked one meal a day, and now they're cooking 3, and the kids are snacking like locusts. So, the grocery stores, aren't prepared for 60 days worth of supply being used in 20.
Right.
So
Mac just popped in.
Sorry. I haven't heard anybody complaining about losing weight yet, so we're good.
Magic Matt just popped in. He said he's grocery store, practice spot, takeout. Those are the only 2 places he's been in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, that's about it for me too. In fact, we even stopped takeout at some point. Actually, when they closed my school that I teach at, I think we stopped takeout. We were planning on going down to the Moonlight. They had they set their restaurant up as a drive-through. And I was planning on doing that as a surprise one night, and then they actually, before we ever did it, they closed because they just didn't think it was fair to have their employees in there. And Dan said he knows somebody that was close to death. We just found out, like, one of the people my wife works with in her credit union, her good friend that's part of another credit union that they had meetings with and stuff all the time, they just found out he's sick. And, so that brings it kind of close to home, when closer to home, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very real. So yeah, I don't know that was the point of what we wanted to get at. And got more food in the fridge and the freezer than I've ever had, though.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what it's like to be a prepper.
Right. Right. Well, Brian said the positive thing about being a truck driver is you can walk up to the McDonald's drive-thru, and probably that's the only way to do it now, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about, that's maybe the negative thing about being a driver, though, is that you got to get food on the road, because I think about the kids that are in there. Just like, are you well, they're wearing gloves. Yeah, they're wearing gloves, but are they touching their face with the gloves on? I don't know.
Our kids are clean to begin with.
Right. Kids are always. So I mute to cough. What my son said the other day, he's like, "Yeah, people used to cough to cover a fart. Now they fart to cover a cough."
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's funny. So, what else? Anything else?
I don't know. We talked about the pedals. We talked about the hidden gem in Steve Kahn, and chatted it up with a couple of our usual suspects, which is always good.
Yeah, I would ask you guys that are hanging out. We'll try and post. I'll try and get them posted a little bit early, and I need to look at YouTube to make sure that they're posting so people can see them. But spread the word. When we get David Barber in or Dave Cicita from DLSFX, spread that word a little bit, because getting to hang out and ask questions to David Barber for an hour, that would be, or maybe don't. Then you can have them all to yourself. But
right,
that would be cool. That would be cool. Now trying to get, just.
You have to get Eric. You have to see if Eric's free when David Barber's in. I think we talked after we got off with Eric. Off the video, I basically said, put him and David Barber in a room together.
Yes. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other news, man?
No, other than tomorrow, my goal is to return to Pennsylvania, and so that might preclude us from doing something live tomorrow. But maybe Jason will generate a little Instagram content that he talked about before we went on the air. You're welcome.
I'm not going to accept that challenge as a mandate.
You're not the boss.
We'll have to work tomorrow. I think
you're not the boss of me.
Well, I mean, if you get up early enough, you should be able to be home by 4:30. Thank you. There you go.
Well, yeah, there you go. And it returns the surf.
What is it, 10-hour trip?
11. It's 10:50 without stops. And there'll be very minimal stops because I'm trying to limp that car back to Pennsylvania. So I have a hybrid that I don't want to shut off, and usually with a hybrid, that's not a problem, but we'll find out. So too bad Brian doesn't travel down 81 north-south on the East Coast. Be like, hey, bro. Yeah.
I think you'll be able to make 4:30, no problem. Brian said he'll do it.
He'll do it? He'll sit in for me?
He'll sit in for you.
Always got room for Uncle Bry.
So, yeah. Brian's laughing at Brian's like, what do you mean you can't be there by 4:30? It's only an 11-hour trip. I can do that in my sleep.
Uh-huh.
I've been chatting on YouTube for that whole time.
I think I'll have to go on if the Duck Dynasty thing's even still a thing, go on the website. And I think they were selling Uncle Si plastic teacups. I think I'll have to buy one and ship it to Arkansas. So Uncle Bry can have a prop next time.
He said he used to travel 81 all the time.
Can you do it tomorrow?
With a car carrier.
Yeah, something, anything, it'll be fine.
So how confident are you that you will make it back?
I don't know. Like, it's 740 miles. If it were a few hours, 3, 4, 5 hours, I'd be like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. It's 11. I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I think by that answer, I'm not 100% confident. But
and you did talk to your rescue plan just in case.
Well, that will be after we're done here. I will ring the rescue bell and see. If he can't do it or there's something, I might just fly back and just do this at another time. But who knows?
Yeah, because I'm thinking right now is not the time to get trapped in a strange town.
So here's my weird plan, right? Not that these people care about this, but I'm thinking if it breaks down somewhere between, part of it was like, where's the halfway point, which is like Greensboro. If it breaks down on the Atlanta side of Greensboro, I'll leave the car in Greensboro. Jen will come get me. I'll come back, start over. If it breaks down on the other side of Greensboro, I'll have someone from Pennsylvania come get me and leave the car there. Or the other thought was, if it breaks down, I will find out from my roadside assistants what is the max miles they will tow something, and I'll have them tow it, 120 miles to the good north somewhere, drop it off like at a Walmart superstation or superstore or something. These are all the things that go around this little calliope of a brain here.
Dan says he cares.
No, that's nice. Thank you, Dan.
Yes, he cares. He'll be thinking about you. Thank
you, Exit 80. That's heartwarming.
He told you to bring a banjo.
I'm not sure if that's for my protection or that's just gonna give my imminent death.
Brian says, leave it and collect insurance.
Well, good. It's a 2006 Prius with 200,000 miles on it, so I'm not sure how much, but enough to buy a new guitar. We already bought another car, so
that's that'd be yeah. Just thinking, I don't know that I want to call an Uber this day and this time.
Like, do you have a 50-gallon drum of sanitizer?
How much it costs to take an Uber for 4 hours?
It's expensive. My wife had to take an Uber from Trenton to our place, which is only like 2 hours, and it was a bit. She had to fly home kind of for an emergency situation, and I couldn't pick her up, so that was a few hundo. I mean, the flights right now are super cheap, so I mean, it's not like I can't get home, and air travel right now is still a thing, so I could get home, but I don't know. I just have to go play mechanic after this, which means take my friend's commercial grade scan tool and reset all the codes for the Prius and fire up and go put some gas in it and see what she does. I drove it 40 minutes the other day. It was fine. Like, I wouldn't have known there was anything wrong with it. So, who knows?
I'm just laughing because of, this is beyond my the whole plan seems beyond my comfort level as far as if I was getting it.
It's on the fringe of my comfort level. Which I'm married to a woman sometimes like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
That you need a banjo. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, the worst thing that can happen might involve banjos, but I won't be the one that has one.
The worst thing that can happen is like in that mountain pass somewhere where there's no cell phone reception. Yeah,
it's like that old T-shirt. I hear banjos paddle faster kind of deal.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Crazy.
That Deliverance movie ruined banjos for everybody.
That's a long way to find toilet paper.
That's what I'll do. I'll just carry toilet paper as currency.
Well, I notice your 12-pack behind you is gone. That home cooking last night.
That's right. That's right.
At the beginning of this thing, he had a 12-pack.
Yeah, and now I have a TV. I was sort of putting Studio B back in its original formation, and so I put the toilet paper prop in the hall closet and that kind of thing.
Tacos. Uncle Brian says tacos.
Enough said.
We're not going to elaborate.
Sort of like wing night.
It's funny how many people that I subscribe to that have gone live since we've started this. Like doing pop-ups for live. So, I mean, it must be everybody just like...
Well, how about you hashtag this one, tacos, hybrid batteries, toilet paper, banjos? Like, see if anybody else can match that.
So, well, I think we've gotten about where we need to get.
And maybe a little further.
A little further. Unless you have a run on new materials.
All this material will be going in the wrong direction. I'm trying to go north and not go south. And this whole thing will go south really quickly.
Dan says he would have listed the live stream yesterday, but it never popped up. I might need to look into that because I feel like it's there. Like I can go out and get to it. It says, it's scheduled to start. Right. But I feel like it's not popping up on the main page and it's not going out. I need to look at. We're live stream newbies, so.
All right.
Which day do you think Barbie is stopping by?
Tuesday or Friday.
Oh, Barbie. I'm thinking we just got done talking about banjos, toilet paper, tacos, and now Barbie. Like, where does she fit into this? And Barber. Barber said, potentially, I'm thinking Tuesday or Friday. He had actually thought about doing it today, which is why this one was kind of a last minute thing. But he, the ear thing, he just didn't feel up to it today. So probably Tuesday or Friday, I think we're looking to see him here. But I'll do my best. As soon as I know, I'll post it and try and get him to post it on his website. We'll post it on our website and stuff.
Yeah,
that's when we're probably Facebook. In our Facebook group. They are popping up there. They're just not popping up on YouTube like they're supposed to.
Is Brian driving Tuesday or Friday? Do we know? You can ask. I'm asking. Because I only say that because isn't he like, didn't we duly deputize him a moderator or something? Because if David Barber puts it on his social media, we're going to need some help.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
We fix him to get a lot of people.
We might get 6.
That's right. We could double this.
We could double what we're seeing now.
That's all we have to say. Our traffic is doubled.
Dan asked if either one of us has a Hot Rod Deluxe. Yeah, man, that's what we play through most of the time. We can almost see it sitting right there beside that little black PV Classic 30.
Right in front of the Leslie.
So, yeah, the Hot Rod Deluxe is what we've been using for a long time.
There's one down here that I see when I come down. It is a Hot Rod Deluxe 3 with an extension cabinet. It is the Robert Cray edition. And it's been sitting at this music store I visit every time I come down here, except for this time for about $1,000.
$1,000 for a Hot Rod Deluxe?
And the extension cabinet. And it's mint. It's like... So I'm just curious to see how long it would sit there before.
We must look this up.
Yeah, look that up. And the other thing, man, there's a guy down here that has a Vox AC30 in a road case that he had listed for $950. He dropped it to $600, and they're like $1,200 on Reverb. I'm like, oh, that'll fit in the Prius. Yeah, I think it's the Robert Cray edition.
Too much power for the house. I'm not seeing the Hot Rod Deluxe 3.
I think that's what it was. I think I just sent a picture of it to you months and months ago, but I'm pretty sure it's Hot Rod Deluxe.
Are you pretty sure it's Robert Cray?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's got the Fender endorsement on the guitar as well, but
because I'm seeing a Hot Rod Deluxe 3 come up in like Sweetwater and stuff, but I'm not seeing one. When I type Robert Cray, I'm not getting that.
I wonder if it's still produced. I mean, what if you just jumped on Reverb and checked it out? I'm pretty sure it was a 3. But even just Hot Rod Deluxe Robert Cray, I'd be curious to see if there's one on Reverb. But I mean, it's like mint. I think it even has the covers for both of them that are still on the plastic. And
I see some limited edition ones.
I'll have to peruse my camera roll when we're done.
Is it tweed?
It's like a gray. It's not really a tweed. It's not black. It's kind of grayish. Tolex.
Because I know Fender does make some. What if I go to Fender.com? See, we're stretching this out again.
Well, I mean, if everybody has to go, this is the way we're going to look it up anyway, because we're going to figure this out today.
Do either of you? I'm looking. Brian Landers says his schedule's random.
Right.
Do you find the effects loop to be mildly noisy? I don't ever really use the effects loop. We used it one time. We plugged the pedal into it, and I know, Pat, you didn't like it?
I didn't. And the second time we plugged it in, we didn't put it through the loop, and it sounded a lot different and a lot
So
cleaner.
you were thinking there's something going on with the effects loop of the hot rods.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm just so used to boogies and PVs that sort of have like, because I mean, they're labeled slightly different on those Fender amps, right? I mean, but that's still kind of what they're intended for. But I'm just so used to running stuff through those other loops, and I don't ever really feel a. I don't know. It was that Korg Leslie pedal that we put in there that first time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess noisy would be the best way to describe it. I just felt it was noisy. But that was a new pedal too. And we're like, I don't know.
So I'm looking at Fender's web page. I see I'm under their vintage and pro tube amps. There is a Hot Rod Deluxe 4 there. So the 3s aren't made anymore. The 4s are made. They're $800 amps. I can't imagine a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe 3, even with an extension cabinet, would be going for $1,000.
But if you type in Robert Cray on the Fender website, what's the deal? It'll probably bring up his Stratocaster.
Right. I'm going to hit the search Robert Cray. It brings up his Strat. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering too. Well, back down here to the comments real quick. Brian said for $1,000 he would look at a deluxe reverb, and I've said it. Brian, have had this conversation. Yeah, Dan of New Jersey said you can get a used one for about $325. Yeah, you can. And then Brian said the Hot Rod Deluxe 4 is a much improved version, and I think the real improvement on those comes in the dirty channel. So I never use the dirty channel, but for me, the clean channel on a Hot Rod Deluxe, I'll take any day over the clean channel on a Deluxe reverb, I think. And I might be the only one on the planet that feels that way, but I can plug into a Hot Rod, any version of them, any speaker configuration, and feel comfortable in minutes. On those Hot Rod Deluxes, if I can't turn it to 10, and sometimes even turning it to 10, it takes me a while to feel real comfortable. So I don't know if I'm just used to bad amps or if whatever. But they're one of the highest selling amps of all time. These Hot Rods are, and if you look backline wise, how many rig rundowns have you seen where people are using those as their backline? And they say they use them because they're easy to get and they're dependable, and you can plug in them and they always sound good. So
right.
I don't know. I'm a fan. I've thought about getting, and Brian and I've talked about like the Tyler amps and the amps that he likes that we mentioned yesterday that I can't remember name off the top of my head.
Fuchs. You're talking about Fuchs.
We talked about Fuchs with Eric, and then there was one that Brian had asked about.
Oh, you said Brian. Sorry. Yeah. Right.
I'd love to get like one of those boutique amps, but then part of me is like, well, why spend $1,500 when you could buy like a used Hot Rod for an extra one of those, and then if I needed a bigger amp, I could run 2, and then if I don't, I don't know. Mine is a little beat back there. I think it's just it could probably use a good going over. Wow. Yeah, Dan in New Jersey, straight into the amp. The amp's stellar. Yeah. And Dan also said he uses, I think, a Vox AC50 CP2 as his go-to amp. If you ever get a hold of a trainer, those are great too. Just reading some of the comments down there. Yeah. And Dan, I mean, if you see a used PV Classic 30 floating around, you can pick those up. Allen Amps is the one Brian was talking about. If you see a used PV Classic 30, Pat and I think have 4 between us now, 2 combos and 2 heads, and I mean they're great. I mean, I used to hate them, but I'm a convert now. Like, I think it was I wasn't used to the EL34s, but they're great little amps.
Yeah, Brody's the one that turned me on to those.
Yeah, you said I have a problem with the internal design of the hot rod. They sound great, but those issues with the internal design, that's like what Eric was talking about yesterday when we were talking to him.
Circuit boards versus
right.
Yeah.
And the one back here, a long time ago, the Amp Tech took it out, changed some of the stuff, like changed little things, hardwired input jacks on it now. Did a couple little things like that to beat some of those problems.
Mm-hmm.
I would love as an amp that just took the hot rod clean circuit with a volume, mid, treble, bass, and reverb, and took all the other stuff out. And I don't know why Fender can't do that. You gotta have a gain channel, I guess.
Right.
All right. So where are we at? We're it's an hour, I think we call it.
That's right. That's right.
But Dan, Brian, we really appreciate you. Who else was in here? Magic Matt. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a little bit. That's all we're doing.
Literally. Yes. Stream of consciousness. When they talk about live streaming, I don't think they just mean whatever comes out of your brain, but that's what we're doing today.
So I will look into the YouTube thing and try and make sure that that's popping up the way it should. And we're unsure about tomorrow. We'll let you know more about tomorrow as time goes on. Dan says, great company. Thanks for your show. No, man, you're right. Great company. Thank you for hanging out. We appreciate it. If you fly back tomorrow morning, maybe we'll be able to do it. If you drive back, since you can't turn your car off and there's nowhere to stop anyway.
That's right.
Exactly. So what is 12? Well, if you leave at 4:30 in the morning,
yeah,
you should have no problem being sitting here. Why don't we do it
number?
Like you can stream from your car, right?
You can. We've got unlimited data, and I've got a magnet holder on my dashboard. It'll look like this, something like that.
Then we can yell at you every time your eyes look at the phone.
Yeah, or I'm doing this,
Eyes on the road. Back yourself. Stay awake. So we could do a 12-hour live stream. We could stream the whole drive home.
That would be riveting.
Riveting is the word.
Well, we could do it. I just need to get a chimpanzee. We could do the BJ and the Bear, which is the play on words for our thing here. We could actually do it, little trucker series.
If you find a chimp, let me know.
Yeah, okay. Now, if it weren't for the COVID-19, I said it. Oops. I probably could find a chimp, no problem.
Right. All right. Well, tomorrow up in the air, but definitely see you Tuesday. We don't see you tomorrow. And for $1,000, you could find a Friedman Runt used. Doesn't Chris have one of those? I don't know. We'll go down that route. Bring that up tomorrow. We'll go down that route. But I kind of think Chris has a really small. No, I think he has a really small Flukes over at his place, a small one.
That's true. He's had that one over there for a little while. Yeah, I think you're right.
All right. See if you can find that picture and send it to me of that Fender. I'd like to know more about it. Especially if it sits there for a really long time, because I think we're moving into deal time.
Well, right. That was sort of the purpose of me bringing it up, being like, I wonder if it sits there long enough.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Sweet. Have a great day, everybody. Pat?
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Peace out. Wash your hands. Ride and drive safe.
Yes. Keep your eyes on the road. We'll see you all later. Thanks for popping in. And I can't reach my button because of everybody's notifications. Later.
Bonus.